My name is Margaret Hayes, and at 62 I believed family was something you protected, even when it hurt. For 34 years I had been the one who hosted every holiday dinner, Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries. No matter how tired I was, my dining table was always full. After my husband, Richard, passed away, I kept the tradition alive because I thought it was what he would have wanted. Our son, Nathan, promised he'd always be there for me. Never let you feel alone, Mom. I believed him, then he married Vanessa. At first she seemed sweet, she brought flowers, complimented my cooking, called me Mom. But after the wedding everything changed. She slowly took control of every family event. If I suggested a restaurant, she'd laugh. If we're being honest, Margaret's ideas are a little outdated. Everyone would chuckle. I pretended it didn't bother me, then she started deciding who was invited. One cousin disappeared from the guest list, then my sister, then an old family friend. Whenever I asked why, she'd smile. I'm just trying to keep things simple. Never argued, he always looked uncomfortable. But he stayed silent. That silence hurt more than Vanessa's words ever could. Still, I kept showing up because I wasn't fighting for a dinner, I was fighting for my family. One Sunday morning Nathan called, "Mom, family gathering this Saturday." I smiled immediately. "Bring my apple pie." There was a long pause, then he quietly said, "Vanessa says, maybe you shouldn't." I laughed because I honestly thought he was joking. "Sorry," he cleared his throat. "She thinks it'll be less stressful if you don't come for a few seconds." I couldn't even breathe. The woman who married into my family was telling me to stay away from my own family gathering, and my own son was delivering the message. I slowly asked, "Is that what you want too, Nathan?" Silence, long, painful silence. Finally he whispered, "I just don't want any drama." That's when I realized I had already lost my place in the family, but neither of them had any idea what would happen after I quietly answered, "Don't worry, I won't come." Saturday arrived. For the first time in over 3 decades. I didn't cook, I didn't bake my famous apple pie, I didn't iron my favorite blue dress. Instead, I sat quietly in my living room with a cup of coffee, staring at the empty dining table that had once been the heart of our family. Around noon my phone buzzed. It was my granddaughter Lily. She was only 11. "Grandma, are you coming?" I forced a smile even though she couldn't see it. "No, sweetheart." "Why?" Before I could answer, I heard Vanessa's voice in the background. "Lily, give me the phone." The call ended. That hurt more than I expected. Hours passed. Then pictures started appearing on social media. Vanessa had posted dozens of smiling family photos. One caption caught my attention. "Perfect family day with the people who truly matter." My name wasn't mentioned, but I didn't need it to be. The message was painfully clear. I quietly closed my phone, then I walked upstairs. Inside my bedroom closet was an old wooden box Richard had left me before he passed away. Inside were family documents, property deeds, investment records, and one envelope labeled in his handwriting, "Only if our family forgets what family means." I had never opened it until that afternoon. Inside was a handwritten letter. Richard had written, "Margaret, if you're reading this, someone has forgotten that respect is worth more than money." Tears filled my eyes. Folded behind the letter was another document, one I had completely forgotten existed. Years earlier, Richard and I had created a family trust, not for Nathan, not for Vanessa, but for future generations, and I was the only living trustee. Every major family asset required my approval before it could ever be transferred. The lake house, the investment portfolio, even part of the family business shares. For years I had never cared. I trusted Nathan completely, but now, the woman who told me to leave my own family gathering had no idea she had just pushed away the one person holding everything together. I smiled for the first time that day. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I finally understood something. Respect isn't something you beg for. Sometimes you simply stop giving people access to the kindness they've taken for granted. And the following Monday, Vanessa knocked on my front door. Monday morning, I opened the front door. Vanessa stood there, perfect makeup, perfect clothes, perfect smile, as if nothing had happened. "Margaret, I think we got off on the wrong foot." I looked at her quietly. She laughed awkwardly. "Oh, come on, Saturday wasn't personal. Just wanted a smaller gathering." I didn't answer. Instead, I stepped aside. "Come in." She looked relieved the moment she sat down. She noticed several folders spread across my dining table, property records, investment statements, trust documents. Her eyes immediately focused on them. "Oh, I didn't realize you were busy." I calmly closed the last folder. I wasn't. I was reviewing the family trust. The first time, her smile disappeared. "Family trust," I nodded. "Richard and I created it years ago. Been the sole trustee ever since." She blinked. "I thought Nathan handled all of that." "Can't, without my signature." Room became completely silent. She looked genuinely shocked, then she quickly smiled again. "Well, that doesn't really matter. We're family." I looked directly into her eyes. "Are we?" She didn't answer. A few minutes later, Nathan arrived. The moment he walked inside, he looked exhausted. His eyes were red. "Mom, I'm sorry. I should have stood up for you." I was wrong. Vanessa interrupted him. Nathan, this isn't helping. He turned toward her. No, once. I'm going to finish. He looked back at me. I chose peace instead of doing what's right. Because of that, I let you be treated like you didn't belong. Tears filled my eyes, not because of the apology, but because it was the first honest thing he'd said in years. Then Vanessa suddenly spoke. So, what happens with the trust? I couldn't help noticing. She hadn't asked about my feelings, she hadn't apologized, she cared about one thing, the money. I quietly smiled. Nothing, unless I decide otherwise. Her face turned pale. I continued. The trust was built to protect this family. Reward people who divide it. Nathan slowly looked at his wife, then at me. Finally, he understood exactly what she had been worried about all along. Nathan stood in the middle of my living room, looking at the woman he married, then looking at the mother who had spent her entire life protecting him. Finally, he made a choice. He turned toward Vanessa. You owe my mother an apology. She crossed her arms. What? For trying to keep one dinner peaceful? Nathan slowly shook his head. No, making my own mother feel like she wasn't part of her own family. Vanessa laughed sarcastically. So you're choosing her over your wife? He answered without hesitation. I'm choosing what's right. Room fell silent. She grabbed her purse. If you walk away from me, you'll regret it. Nathan calmly opened the front door. If respecting my mother costs me my marriage, so be it. Vanessa stared at him in disbelief, then at me. She expected me to stop him. I didn't. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. For a long moment, neither Nathan nor I spoke. Then he quietly whispered, I'm sorry, Mom. I should have protected you years ago. I hugged him tightly. I wasn't asking you to choose between your wife and me. I was asking you to remember who raised you. Over the next few months, Nathan and Vanessa separated, not because of one family gathering, but because that day exposed years of manipulation, disrespect, and control. As for the family trust, I never used it to punish anyone. Instead, I updated it. Every future inheritance would now come with one simple condition: respect, because money can build houses, but only respect can build a family. The following Thanksgiving, a dining table was full again. Laughter filled every room. Lily ran into my arms the moment she arrived. Nathan placed my homemade apple pie in the center of the table, then he stood up and smiled. Have something to say? Everyone looked at him. He took a deep breath. This house, this family, exists because of my mother. I almost forgot that. Never will again. Room erupted in applause. I looked at Richard's empty chair for just a second, and smiled. Some victories aren't about revenge, they're about finally being seen, and for the first time in years, I truly felt at home again.